I saw a very interesting conspiracy video. This video right here, by Salim Mapaila, I think. I can't remember his name. So he's a politician, the Secretary General of SACPA. You know, these political things and acronyms and what. So, but there's this conspiracy thing that he recently had that's going viral on TikTok. I wanted to talk about it here alongside the Bible to say we must be very clear where we are. Otherwise, we enter problem because we are not aware. Now, I'll play you that video, then I'll give you the Bible reference so that we can move in wisdom. Let's listen.
The declaration of the Gdansk meeting in Poland. The declaration from a conference called Conference Against Totalitarianism and in Defense of Democracy, which was convened last year, June, in Poland. We've spoken about it in public, even when I addressed the big media forum with Comrade Solipitwe and Comrade Mbalula at the Hani Memorial.
So there was some meeting before the elections that was busy conniving to wait, listen.
Media were all there with their cameras. And I spoke when their cameras were still on. I even spoke about names of collaborators of this international agenda in the name of defense of democracy and against totalitarianism. The European Solidarity Center that convened this meeting, working with the Brenthurst Foundation, led by Greg Mills, and senior journalists who attended this meeting. They may or they may not have known the agenda, but clearly they played the agenda, the role of that particular outcome of that particular meeting.
Okay, so they might have not known, but how is it that when they came back, the things that happened within their control or whatever, it seemed to align with what was spoken about in this meeting? Okay.
When they are back here in South Africa, amongst them, for instance, prominent South Africans who participated, and those of you, including from this media institution, they've wasted no less than one or two of them, but multiple of them in the analysis pre-elections and post-election.
Okay. So the people that were doing the analysis were people that were okay.
For instance, the last minister, defense minister of apartheid regime, Rolf Meyer, was one of the attendees of this meeting in Gdansk. Yes, all of a sudden Rolf Meyer was resurrected from somewhere to be a commentator even on the concept of the GNU. Everywhere on television, SABC, NCA, everywhere. It's planned by those who are controlling the media houses. No problem.
Which is the agenda at all from the globalists. Okay.
Against journalists. Because when a photographer or political reporter comes here, he's told by the editor what they want, or the political editor what they want from this meeting. They give them even questions what to ask. So Rolf Meyer was one of them. Dr. Ray Hartley, former editor, think of the Sunday Times and particularly of the Daily Dispatch, was one of them. The director at this Brenthurst Foundation. Dr. Mpumelelo Mkhabela, former editor of Sowetan, the Lovely People's Paper, was one of them. They were the main stars of the commentariat in the run-up to elections. Was this innocent?
It makes me laugh when he says, was it innocent? They come back and they are running, and it looks like they were at the... Oh, right. Was it?
Then we have even there, president of the IFP, Sabisa, was there in that meeting. There were others too. Yes. There were others too from here. The editor of the Daily Maverick was there. Now, these are reality. It's not science fiction. It's the reality of forces working against this revolution in the name of media freedom. Articulating one agenda. There must be change. The revolution has failed. There were several others. Comrade Lindy Zulu.
Aye.
As a fighter of our liberation movement, you will know this. There was the leader of UNITA in that meeting.
Aye.
From Angola. There was the leader of Renamo in that meeting from Mozambique.
Aye.
There was the leader of the MDC here, Tendai Biti, who after this year around March, April, I can't remember the exact date because of the campaign was too heavy. He came and addressed a seminar organized by the Daily Maverick in Cape Town. A newspaper we have said in public as the South African Communist Party that is being funded by the State Department of the U.S. through the U.
Hey, man. That's what I did. Conspiracy is a lot. Now, the point that I wanted to show here, the believer must live his life as a disciple of the Messiah. Now, I want to show you something about the Babylonian system that the Bible speaks about. In Revelation, the book of Revelation, Revelation chapter number 18, right? Say for example, and this is what he says. He says, and I heard a voice, another voice, saying from heaven, saying, come out of her, my people, come out of this system, that ye be not partakers of her sins. Okay, what is the sin? That he may not receive of her plagues. So there are certain things that God is going to think on the system. Do not partake in them. It says, for her sins have reached unto the heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Right? Goes on. Listen to what he says. He says, reward her even as she rewarded you. The system, in its corruption, has done certain things. It has rewarded you evil. So God will reward it rightly. God will deal with this system rightly. And he says, double unto her, double according to her works, and in her cup, which she has filled with a double. So basically, it goes on. This verse is talking about, and even if you actually read the previous verse before that, right before verse, if you go to verse 2, it says, and I heard a mighty voice saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. So good does not get spoken about, but it becomes a propagation of all forms of hateful agendas, basically. And it says the people, now listen to the political part, but the political side, because remember, Babylon in the space here, it consists itself of a religious arm, a political arm, and a business arm, right? And so there are people who are benefiting from the system. It says, for all the nations have drunk of the wine of her wrath, of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. So meaning they have partook with this system in its corruption. Okay. And the merchants of the earth, there is a business arm. The merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. The corruption of the system. The corruption of this system. The Bible warns. And that's where you will notice that right after he puts up these merchants who are thinking, that's when he says what? Come out of her, my people. Come out of partaking in this corrupt system. So be very careful. Being sold agendas. I've warned this countless times. Be careful of falling into the system, because this system will be judged. It will be judged. Now, when the Bible says, and she, as she rewarded you, God will reward her, must be very clear there. The evil that it gives to you. The system is meant to benefit certain people up at the top, and those people who have done all this evil and participated in all this nonsense, benefiting themselves, waxing rich over, the Bible says He will reward them. As they took from you, as they took from the nations, as they took from the people, God will reward them what is meet for them. Be careful partaking in the system of corruption. Be very careful. That's why the Bible says, come out of here, my people. So this is that arm, either the enterprise system, being in the business space. Be very careful of being corrupted by these people. Being in the religious space, be careful of being corrupted by these people. Being in the political space, be careful of being corrupted by these people. These three. It's part of the Babylonian system. When you read the book of Revelation, that's what it's talking about. You see that part there where it says, and has become a hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. You'll remember this, the parable of the seed sowing. Yeah. The birds of the air take the word. Here, guess what? They propagate a certain message. Maybe political or what? Yeah, black. Yeah, black. So you are black, so what? He sold you an agenda, my friend. You are no special. You thought you were being smart. Nah, it's not that smart. You're not that smart. Trying to when you see everything. That's not how you get through this system. We get through this system with God's wisdom. You using your head, you will fall into trouble, my friend. Because you are smart, you are street smart. It's not how you get through this one. We get through this one with God's knowledge, with God's wisdom. Must be very careful not to allow the system to corrupt you. So as it's going down the list of the people that were involved in whatnot and stuff like that, it just kind of reminds you, do not allow the system of the world to influence you on what agendas you start pushing. Be careful. Structured Show, daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time of a year, be sure to check out the other videos that are down in the pinned comments. You are living in the end time, my friend. Wake up. You are living in the end time. This is a reminder. Musuglala, iskat soglala has passed. Do not get drunken. Don't be made drunk by the system. How does the system make one drunk? Popularity, fame, money, materialism will occupy you. The system will keep you occupied. You're a minister, you just continue running around with holidays. You miss the point of ministry. You miss. But hey, you know what? What do we know? Be careful of being sold the system of Babylon in these three areas. Because if one doesn't catch you, the other one will. Be careful. It's Ricky and I'll see you later. Y'all have a